What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Renegade Animation on the Renegade Pop Culture Podcast Network. My name is Mike. I'll be your host for this evening. Joining me, as always, is my co-captain, Cameron.
Howdy, howdy.
And I hope you guys had a wonderful Mother's Day on this beautiful whenever you get to listen. Today's show is going to be fun. It's a little bit light on content, but we've still got the news and we've got some reviews for a new batch of Looney Tunes cartoons, the Netflix anime series Yasuke, and we've got Justice Society, World War II, and the first entry in our Ghibli Journey, My Neighbors the Yamadas. But first, let's talk about some of these news topics.
Well, let's start with some trailers first, because we forgot to mention this one last episode. Disney has shown the fully animated opening for their new cartoon coming out in October, The Ghost and Molly McGee. Most of y'all would know by now from the preview from the Comic-Con, I forgot which one.
I think it was New York.
I think it was New York also. And they had an animatic of the opening, but now they have a fully completed opening. And yeah, despite our harsh words to Disney and how they handled the whole amphibia thing, The Ghost and Molly McGee looks great.
Yeah, and I think October is actually the perfect time to release this because, you think of October, you think of Halloween, the macabre, and this is sort of a very lighter toned ghost story, but it still has the usual trappings.
Yeah, and the animation looks vibrant, and I'm just honestly super excited to see Dana Snyder in a lead role that's not on an Adult Swim or like a side character. Like I really like his comedy timings, and everyone I know on Twitter and YouTube are going to make clips of this show, and they're going to dub over the Ghosts dialogue with Master Shake.
Oh God, I'm actually really looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, Ashley Birch, I think that's her name.
Ashley Birch.
Is going to play Molly McGee, and someone may have to correct me, but I feel like she and Bo Burnham are the only two people that I can think of, and maybe Dylan O'Brien.
Actually, there's one more. Brian Hall, who is replacing Adam Sandler in Hotel Transylvania 4.
Oh yeah, right. I feel like they're like the only ones who have been able to escape the YouTube grasp. It's not super unheard of. YouTube is a very difficult place to make a living, and it's changed from what worked back then is no longer possible now. And it's great to see that these individuals have found ways to escape it, because there's always been like attempts to like take a popular YouTube thing and put it on TV,
and usually they fail miserably.
They all fail miserably. I remember a few food YouTubers try to get on Food Network, and that failed. And I know Epic Mealtime tried, and that didn't work out. From what I remember, I just remember seeing advertising for it, and then it just vanished the next day. But yeah, no, The Ghost of Molly McGee still looks great. I wish we didn't have to wait so long, but I get it. Halloween and the supernatural and ghosts. But we also have a trailer for the new Paramount Plus Rugrats reboot, and like a full reboot. And of course, the show is coming out
at the end of the month.
At the end of the month, May 27th. That's where you record this. And I mean, what do you think?
I mean, it looks fine. We've talked before about how, if we're being completely honest, none of the Nickelodeon shows with CGI animation really hold up. Like even some of the best Jimmy Neutron episodes still look very dated. So the fact that this looks like, it's funny. I said it looked not bad on Twitter, and I still got dirty looks from people who are like, "What the hell are you talking about? This looks like this
awful." Yeah,
and I'm like, come on.
No, this looks way better than like most of Nick's attempts at CGI, and this looks way better than Camp Coral, and that's not even judging Camp Coral on its writing or storytelling. I'm just saying on a visual look. Now, I don't think this looks as good as that vertical slice that they showed, but I think if you're going to translate these characters to CGI, this is as good as they were going to look, unless they were given like more time. But I think they look better than like the translations from like the Boss Baby going from film to Netflix, and I really did not like how the Netflix show looked. Ugh. I mean, I'm not usually one to be like, oh, I don't care about the visuals. I care about the writing and the story and the characters and what have you. But man, did the visuals just take me out of it.
Hmm.
But
I didn't even bother with the Boss Baby show, partly because it looked like such a downgrade.
I mean, that's a problem. Well, a lot of people are wondering, like, why didn't they just make this a 2D show? Because it was obvious that the original film took its inspiration and references from 2D cartoons with how squash and stretch and bouncy they were in like expressions and what have you. But yeah, no, I think this new Rugrats um looks good, and I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, I liked hearing Cree Summers again, and I liked hearing Kath Sose and E.G. Daily, and I think Nancy Cartwright is voicing Chucky. If
Yep,
I
she's been voicing Chucky since I want to say like early 2000s.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm a little more curious to hear how the adults sound because we didn't get a whole lot of them, and I want to hear Tony Hale as Chucky's dad.
Same.
And
I think if you're gonna get a celebrity to replace the adults, I think Tony Hale is perfect for Chaz.
yeah, and I want to hear what Grandpa Lou sounds like because I know Michael McKean, who you would know from like Better Call Saul and such, or Food Fact or Fiction on Cooking Channel sounds like because, like I said, Grandpa Lou sounded really distinct. Though I just realized something. Chucky's sister is not here, or like, you know,
Yeah, where does Kimmy in this?
I'm wondering if this is just like a flat, like hard reboot because it looks like Chucky's still just like an only child, and there's no what's Tommy's brother named?
Dill?
Dill. I still get kind of amused by that pun name. and and of course, like who the I forgot the actress for Angelica, but she sounds great. But yeah, no, it looks fine. We'll have to see what happens when we finally watch it. But that's all I have to say. So, Made in Abyss, the smash hit anime that is now on Sentai Filmworks, distribution label, and High Dive, is getting a second season, and it will be coming out next year, or yeah, 2022, called Made in Abyss, Retsujitsu no Gonkyo, or Made in Abyss, The Sun Blazes Upon the Golden City. Probably could have said that first. um, and that also includes an announcement of a 3D action RPG called Made in Abyss Binary Star Falling into Darkness, which will be coming out for PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC next year too. Have you seen Made in Abyss?
I can't remember. Do you remember which anime preview we talked about this?
I don't think we talked about this in an anime preview at all. Like I think
Oh, this might have been like before fall 2020.
Yeah, this was way before fall 2020, and this was like 2018, maybe a little bit earlier. I forgot.
Oh well, in that case, then I have never seen it. So
Oh yeah, here we go. 2017, and then was released on Blu-ray in 2018. We might have to do like either like a fresh takes thing with Brock, or tackle this first season and the legit movie that's connected to the show, not the recap films. Um, and I mean, granted, I know we're already going to do one for the Demon Slayer franchise, but I think you would get a kick out of this show. It's really like, despite a few elements which we'll get to when we get to, but it's a really cool anime. So I can't wait.
The premise does sound fascinating, so I am curious to check it out.
Yeah. And speaking of anime, we're getting a new Dragon Ball Super film coming out next year with Akira Toriyama in charge of the screenplay and character design. And so this is what Toriyama had to say to the fans. An all new movie since Dragon Ball Super Broly is currently in the making. Just like the previous movie, I'm heavily leading the story and dialogue production for another amazing film. I really shouldn't talk too much about the plot yet, but be prepared for some extreme and entertaining bouts, which may feature an unexpected character. We'll be charting through some unexplored territory in terms of the visual aesthetics to give the audience an amazing ride. So I hope everyone will look forward to the new movie.
Oh, hell yes. I am super excited for a new Dragon Ball movie.
I remember seeing Dragon Ball Super back in 2018 or so, or maybe 2019.
Probably
No,
2019.
2019. That's more accurate because I was going to the Alamo. Still, and man, was it great to see the fights on the big screen. And I didn't even see Super, and I was just like, I was enjoying myself until it came out about a huge decade's worth of harassment and terrible working conditions came out for one of the voice actors for the main character of that movie. So that really soured the enjoyment of the movie. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to get sworn by those idiots who keep defending this one actor. So, but I'm down for a new Dragon Ball movie. If it's as good as the last one, I'm down.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit about the passing of an actress from the animation community. Though people would probably know more of this actress from HR Puff and Stuff. Her name is Billie Hayes, and she passed away recently at the age of 96. Now, you may know her from this, but she's also been in like The Black Cauldron, and she was Mother May I in the Teen Titans cartoon from the 2000s, and she was also in like shows like Powerpuff Girls, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, The Batman, and Witch, and she was also a one of the witches in Shrek Forever After.
Wow.
And
Her resume is pretty impressive.
yeah, it is. And her last role was in the Transformers Rescue Bots series, which I haven't seen, but I'm sure she's a delight on that show. And man, I wish we could go a week without having to talk about someone passing because it's like I was at first I was like I've never heard of Billie Hayes, and then I looked up her filmography, and it's like, oh man, I've seen her everywhere.
Yeah, that
Oh
it always sucks like to hear news like that.
yeah, and but may she rest in peace. She has a great legacy with her. So Tig Notaro, who we have seen in shows like The Fungies, and she's going to be in the upcoming Army of the Dead by Zack Snyder, is going to be going to HBO for a comedy special. And it's going to be animated. And I mean, granted, Ellen DeGeneres is executive producer on this, and you know the whole thing with her and how working on Ellen's talk show is not great. But I think this is interesting, an animated comedy special.
Yeah, it's a first for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm wondering if this was either like thought of before or after like the pandemic or something. Because I mean, I could see that being an interesting workaround. It'd be kind of like doing a Gorillaz concert because it's all animated and whatnot. So
You know what this kind of reminds me of? Granted, I haven't watched the series yet, but this reminds me a lot of the Midnight Gospel on Netflix, which is basically an animated series that's like adapting a podcast. So I'm kind of imagining like the visuals will be something similar to that, where you know each joke or bit kind of like becomes this like fully animated sequence. So I can kind of see the possibilities of this working.
yeah, no, we'll have to see. And I've enjoyed like anytime I've seen Tig on like either voice acting or acting. Um, I've enjoyed her energy and her spirit. So we'll just have to see. So that Amazing Maurice film that we talked a little bit ago that is going to have Hugh Laurie as the anti-hero cat Maurice, and this is also based off of the writings of the guy who did Discworld. This film has an update with some new cast members joining along with David Tennant, Ariane Bakare, Rob Brydon, and Julie Atherton and Joe Sugg. So I kind of want to see this movie now. Can we bring it out a little like faster?
Does it have an official release date yet, or is it still just in development?
I think so far it's just in development. It sounds like there's nothing, like no concrete date as of yet.
Okay,
But
well, I want to see it like sooner rather than later because damn that cast.
yeah, no, I mean I was already on board when they announced Hugh Laurie on as the main character, and you look at the picture and it's like, oh yeah, no, I see it.
Yep.
So before we move to talk about Annecy a little, let's talk about the BS makers of the day or of this episode. Let's talk about Floyd County Productions and the fact that they will not let their animators be unionized. So Floyd Country Productions, y'all would know their work from like Archer, and they're making the upcoming America the Motion Picture. And yeah, they're not the animators there aren't in the best working conditions and pay and all that stuff. So, and they've tried many times to be like, hey, please, for the love of gravy, let us get unionized so we can have better pay and whatnot. And they're just like, no. And it's like, come on. Oh, this is not the fun stuff to talk about with animation, but we have to talk about it since animators are constantly thrown under the bus by crummy heads of studios not treating them well.
And it only makes worse when people on the internet who don't know how the sausage is made insist that they know more than they actually know about animation.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, I'm fortunate. I like where I work, and I work in a great working environment. So everyone should be able to afford that, and every studio should be able to offer that and provide it. Because like I said, animation's one heck of a job to go through, and it's not always great. And you hope that they change their minds soon, but it will make watching any future Archer or America the Motion Picture kind of hard to do without I want to say like yeah, go watch it or whatever, but it's also going to be like watch it, but also Floyd Productions, you need to treat your animators well.
Yeah.
It's
Quality of life is pretty much priority number one for me personally. It's quality of life, then quality of entertainment, and then everything else.
and it's like I have to deal with this when I followed the game industry news. I mean, it's all over the place. It's always happening, and it's not even a secret anymore that the game industry and at major studios, it's the working conditions and environments aren't great. Ubisoft has decades of sexual harassment and toxic work environment issues happening, and they're just trying to sweep it under the rug. They're like, oh, nothing's happening. Or like there was the Riot Studios investigation, and they hired their in studio like investigators, and they're like, oh no, nothing has been found. It's like, yeah, I wonder why that is. You hired someone that you knew. They didn't get an outside team to investigate. So it's like the entertainment industry as a whole needs to be unionized. Unionize the heck out of it. That's all we have to say. So Floyd County, unionize, or else it's going to be really hard to watch your future stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hopefully, as that happens, let's talk about the Annecy update for the Annecy Film Festival, the E3 of animation from around the world. We're not going to be able to do a full on like preview guide like we did last time, just because a lot of these details are slowly and painfully just coming out at us the pace of molasses. So we're going to just talk about the one of the big announcements. They announced the work in progress section, which includes the Siren, which will be a 2D 3D animated feature by Sapide Farsi, Mars Express by Jeremy Perrine, which will be also 2D and 3D. Unicorn Wars by Alberto Vasquez Rico, who made Bird Boy and the Forgotten Children. I've been looking forward to this one for a while, but we'll get to that. Little Nicholas by Amandine Frieden and Benjamin Masubre, which is 2D. Princess Dragon by Anthony Roog and Jean Jacques Denis, which will be 2D, 3D. Neola by Jose Miguel Ribeiro, and Perlimps by Ale Abre, which will be drawn on paper in 2D, 3D. The Peasants by Dorota Cobiela, which will be rotoscoped and painted on canvas. This is the film that the Loving Vincent team is making.
Ooh, nice.
Blind Willow, Sleeping Woman by Pierre Foldes, which will be rotoscoped in 2D and 3D animation. And then like the work in progress, those are the features. And then the work in progress shorts include Robin by Dan Ojari and Mikey Please, which will be stop motion. And it's the Aardman special being made for Netflix. Feina, Pirate Princess by Kazuto Nakazawa, which is the original anime that's being made for Crunchyroll and Adult Swim by Production IG. Maya and the Three by Jorge Gutierrez, the
Yes.
3D series for Netflix. The House by Emma De Sueve and Mark James Royal and Nikki Lindroth, Von Bar and Paloma Baeza, which will be with puppets and animation objects. And Samurai Rabbit, the Osegi Chronicles by Hang Lei, which will be 2D and 3D for Netflix. And then the VR stuff will be Immersion, Augmented Nature by Annelise Kohler and Eric Serre, which will be 3D augmented reality and real-time storytelling. And Ascenders by Jonathan Astruck, which will be 3D and virtual reality. Some of these projects sound so cool, and I can't wait to see some of these because I've been waiting for maybe a good few years now to hear about some of these projects. Like that's how deep I am into like learning about French animation and just overseas animation because
Well,
I've been looking forward to Unicorn Wars, which is a dark comedy from Spain and France, or it's a collaboration between Spain and France. And Mars Express got a lot of hype when the original teaser came out. Princess Dragon, the directors made a really interesting film that's based off of, I forgot. It's a very popular franchise. I think it's called like Snap Fu or something. And Perlimps is made by the same director who made The Boy in the World, which was Oscar nominated back in 2015 alongside When Marnie Was There, Inside Out, Anomalisa, and Shaun the Sheep movie. So
I forgot how great that year was.
2015 was a great year for animation, even if it wasn't as big as other years. And then, of course, I'm the one major fan who loved all of Loving Vincent. Not to say that none of y'all didn't, or it's like, y'all just don't get it. No, I get it. Why some people might not like this movie. Loving Vincent, I mean. But man, I remember watching the teaser for The Peasants and the stuff they're doing with the hand painted canvas stuff and this, I'm sure, use of CGI and rotoscoping. It looks great. I mean, do any of these sound promising to you? Like,
Something I just realized, and I don't know, I can't remember if we brought it up like when we first discussed it, but Atomic Monster is one of the producers for Samurai Rabbit, the Usagi Chronicles. For those who don't know, Atomic Monster is James Wan's production company, and I can't think of another animated project that he's been involved in. So this is kind of cool. I'm also seeing Netflix's name a lot, mostly in the shorts, because these are a lot of their TV properties.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of cool to see, a first look at Aardman's newest series, and then Fena, Pirate Princess, I think is the first time that Crunchyroll and Adult Swim have like collaborated.
Yeah, they're working on a few different ones. They're working on like I think a Blade Runner show and a Shenmue show
Oh,
as well.
that's right.
Yeah, so this was like one of their big things before HBO Max and well, not HBO Max, AT&T was like, let's sell Crunchyroll, and now we're kind of in a stalemate of knowing what exactly the fate of Crunchyroll is. So I'm sure these things will keep going and get made because Adult Swim's going to be like, WTF, bro? I want my show. Unlike that show that Crunchyroll just buried, even though it's finished. I forgot what it's called, but
Oh, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but I know exactly which one you're talking about.
yeah, no, it's obnoxious. It's like release that darn show, but yeah, sure, X Arm is worth showing off, but this show that's sitting in limbo is not. Try to make sense of that. I think the one I'm looking forward to the most is well, besides My End 3, because Jorge is one of my idols in animation, is Blind Willow Sleeping Woman. I just love the animation and just the surrealness of it all. And I'm curious to see how it unfolds. And or at least I want to see what's up, because I feel like this has probably like cult classic animated film all over, like written all over it.
Yeah, I felt that a lot watching that trailer.
And I love seeing this because this is what I want to see with animation. I want to see this dark surrealness, and like I don't know, you can't tell me you don't want to see a creepy giant toad tell a guy saying like, "Hey, I'm going to save you from destruction." And the guy just be like, "Okay, can I smoke?"
Yeah, that's my thing with animation. Like if you're going to devote your career to a storytelling medium with no limits, then throw caution to the wind, man. Like do the like the weird abstract like stories like that. Do things with like a very sci-fi bent, like something like Mars Express, which for such a short teaser, it certainly got my attention.
Yeah, that one looks great. Great. I mean, a lot of these looked great. I will say I wasn't super impressed with the Unicorn Wars one. I mean, I like the whole like teddy bears going to war against the unicorns. I want to see a little more what the humor is going to be like, because the humor in the previews have not always caught my attention. But this is one of those sections of Annecy that I always get excited about seeing, because it's like, okay, what's getting worked on and such, and so I don't know. A lot of these sound great.
Tell the audience again the dates for Annecy.
Annecy is happening in June, and they're celebrating like the 60th anniversary of it. Though I think that was what the idea was last year, before the pandemic ruined everything.
Right.
And let's see, here we go. June 14th through the 19th. There hasn't been an official, I mean, as we record this, because depending on when this comes up, we could see like the features get announced soon. But yeah, that's where it's all going to be. And like some of the other things that'll be included with this version of Annecy that's coming up is that, like, if you for some reason want to see Japan Sings 2020, they're going to play that on like there. And Disenchantment, apparently they're going to play the Animaniacs suspended animation episode.
Ooh.
For some reason I'm curious about that. I wonder if it was like meant to show up at fantasy last year, but COVID happened.
Could be.
Oh, they're gonna have some Moomin Valley stuff to show off. Oh, I loved the Moomin Valley stuff I saw at the New York Children's International Film Festival. And then they got like Mush Mush, and they're gonna have like this Snoopy show and Stillwater from Apple Plus. So it looks like it's gonna be good for now. Well, we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated as we hear more information.
Right. But for now, let's move on to our first title of the episode, Yasuke.
Oh, so we're gonna start here then.
Well, we could talk about the two shorts from that Disney released recently with 22 versus Earth and oh, what was it? The
The Force Awakens from its nap.
Yeah. I mean, I could give you a quick summary. Like, I think they were cute. They were very short. I've enjoyed these more recent shorts that they've made with the Simpsons, just because it's like no dialogue, it's all visual gags and such. I do think it's funny that when you get put in timeout, you get frozen in carbonite.
Yeah, gags like that were kind of fun.
Yeah, and but it like I said, it's short. There's not a whole lot to talk about, and some of the stuff was cute, and I do like the jab at the Star Wars franchise, saying like no one really died, or none of the popular characters die, because popular characters drive the franchise.
Exactly.
Do you have any thoughts about it?
Really, just brief thoughts. In general, I think what I like about the Simpsons shorts is because Maggie is front and center. It's an excuse to experiment with like the silent filmmaking of classic shorts from like the 30s. So they get to be a little bit more experimental in that regard.
Right. Like I said, there's just not much to this one, and I will say, like, I think I like 22 versus Earth more in terms of the shorts. I will say I wish they just did another one with focusing on the humans. Not because I didn't find it amusing, but it was just like it was always just kind of limiting, and they always kind of bill these prequel shorts as like find out what 22 did before the events of Soul, and it's like we know what she did or what they did. So 22 did nothing and basically pissed off the entire mentor system.
I will say though, it is very cute that her secret club is called the Apocalypse.
Yeah. Oh, that was that. There are a lot of great little gags like that, and I love like when one of the little souls that she stole ends up finding their passion as a liar.
I love lying.
And one of the beings was just like, if this leads to another politician. And then I love how they ended with the whole like it's like they will go to Earth and find out the meaning of life. And it's like, what is the meaning of life? What? You don't know? Well, simply put, it's and then the credits happen. And then after the credits are over, they're like, sounds very mundane when you put it that way. All right. Sorry, I love gags like that because it like one of my favorite Venture Brothers gags is when 21 is talking to 22 when he's dead, and he's like, okay, what's the meaning of life? And 22's like, the color 12. And it's like, really? No, stop. Don't ask me something less Hitchhiker's Guide. Like, I love gags like that. But other than that, there's just not a whole lot to it.
Yeah. Honestly, like really the point of these two shorts is it's just more time to spend with like I'm hesitant to call 22 a fan favorite character. It's just her world is sort of the easiest to make like quick 5-minute shorts about.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And they don't go very far with it. So I mean, I wasn't expecting like something thought provoking or anything, but I don't know. It was just kind of weird to end on her still on 22 being like, it's like, well, fine. I don't like you take that stupid soul, stupid Earth. You're just a floating rock. And it's just like, okay, that really didn't tell us anything that we already didn't know outside. I mean, I don't want to say that. This sounds mean that I'm about to say. It sounds like they had a few jokes that they couldn't fit into the movie, and they just put them into this short.
Um, yeah, that sounds about right. This isn't even the same writers as the film. It's just people on the Pixar staff. Like, hey, we have some ideas. Can we run with those?
Yeah, no, that I mean, I think that's overall how I felt about these two shorts. They're cute, they're fun, but they're really. I think I preferred the Pixar popcorn shorts more, and I think I like the Soul one there more than uh the one we got. So, but that's just how I felt.
And any opportunity to spend more time in that world, I'll take every opportunity.
Right, right, same here. But let's talk about Yasuke, the new anime from Netflix that the original premiere like stream that they announced this on was very flippant and dismissive, like, oh yeah, we got Lakeith Stanfield, whatever. Um so this is the new anime by LaShawn Thomas who made Cannon Busters on Netflix. And it got a lot of notoriety because of its lead actor being Lakeith Stanfield, um, playing the iconic role of real life um, black samurai Yasuke. Um, but of course, since Yasuke's history is mostly unknown, they take it into a very fantasy, sci-fi, Champloo Afro samurai kind of way. And the story is basically about Yasuke, who used to serve Nobunaga Oda, and then after Nobunaga and his empire fell, basically like became a boatsman, like ferrying people across the river and such. And then one day he's asked to help take a girl named Saki, voiced by Maya Tanida, to a doctor per se, and she has mysterious powers that are being targeted by dangerous individuals like the Daimyo, who's voiced by Amy Hill, and Abraham, who's voiced by Dan Donahue. So, Mike, what did you think about this show or this special or miniseries, I guess?
Um, I think on the whole, I enjoyed it a lot. It's a Mappa series, so of course it's going to have gorgeous animation, and we'll talk a little bit later about some things that the music composer Flying Lotus has been teasing. I personally think the music is one of the best aspects of the show. It just gives it gives it gives the show a little bit more atmosphere, which is a really nice touch. I think if there's one major criticism to be had is that sure, because there isn't much known history about the real life Yasuke, they kind of fill the gaps with like a lot of fantasy elements when I think they might have overstuffed it with such elements. And I would have enjoyed this just as much if it was like a strictly historical based series, or if it was like say this took place in like the future, or I don't know, something that's very clearly not supposed to be the real world. Instead, they kind of met in the middle, and that's why at times it would feel tonally inconsistent.
I think that's also my biggest problem with this show. It has all these sci-fi and fantastical elements, and like, do not think you're going to be walking into an Afro samurai or a samurai Champloo with this. You're more or less walking into a Samurai 7 situation. I don't know if you remember that anime or not, but that one had also like a fantasy with the thieves and such using giant mechs and whatnot. And most of the samurai were, humans with just they were just really good at fighting with weapons. And it's actually a good series. I recommend tracking it down. And yeah, I wouldn't mind these fantasy and sci-fi elements if the sci-fi elements did not feel so secondhand.
Mm.
Like they felt like they were there because like I would have been fine with the more fantastical elements. Like I love like the bounty hunters like Akoja, who's voiced by William C. Stevens, who uses like magic to make like these hologram warriors.
Yeah,
Um,
that was really cool.
yeah, and I liked Nikita, who can turn into who's this very large woman who can turn into a bear, um, and such. But then you have Haruto, voiced by Darren Criss, who's this giant mech, and the sci-fi elements are like barely in this show. So
And don't ask for an explanation because they're not going to give you anything.
they're not. And I mean, I loved Haruto, and I was so sad that they killed him off in the like second last episode or so. He's like the kind of character I would like to write, kind of a himbo kind of thing, like
Yeah,
individual.
he basically reminds me of K2SO from Rogue One, or
Yeah,
or Robot from Invincible.
yeah. And another problem is that Yasuke is technically not the main character through most of its run. It's really Saki who's the main focus. And I'm I understand why they call it Yasuke. I understand, but I wish it was like the Tales of Yasuke or something, because I want to see him as the lead. I want the story to completely focus on him.
Yeah, they depict Yasuke in this series as like, you know, like the Man Max or the man with no name.
Even though he
Would
has a name.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like that's sort of playing into the samurai or like cowboy tropes, but it wasn't at all what I was expecting from like just based on like the marketing.
No, I liked like they show a lot of his story from the flashback sequences, and I like those. I thought those were the best moments of the show, when it was just focusing on Yasuke and just the story of an African slave going to Japan. And like, if you're wondering, they do touch upon the racism and just like the identity of like Yasuke trying to find out where he fits in this world. But it's not a major part. And no, it's just like I liked those flashback elements more. And
Yeah,
it's
like
not.
the flashback elements are like that is basically what I expected the whole series to be. But I also kind of get that if you're going to make an anime out of the story as opposed to like live action, yeah, I can understand, like I can understand the appeal to adding more fantastical elements.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Samurais fighting demons and monsters and such. I'm down for it. It's just that's not really the focus. Like, the first half is focusing on Abraham, this creepy priest, and he doesn't do a whole lot. Or like he doesn't play a whole role in like the first part, and then it's like really the daimyo, and then they bring in like Kurosaka, who's voiced by Emily Wu Zeller, who she was good, and Gwendolyn Yao as Ichika from the beginning was great. I mean, the voice cast overall is pretty great in this show. I mean, like, of course, you got Lakeith Stanfield, and then you got Takahiro Hira, and then, like we said, Maya Tanita, Ming Na Wen, Paul Nakauchi, Darren Criss, Julie Marcus, William C. Stevens, Dia Frampton. Fun fact: Dia Frampton was on the first season of The Voice,
Ooh.
which was really like it wasn't jarring or like whiplashing, but it was like, oh wait a minute, I recognize that name, and she did a pretty good job for her first voiceover role. And man, a Netflix series, that's a good get.
Yeah.
Um, then you got Amy Hill, who voices the daimyo. Then you got like Ian Chen, who plays that kid Ichiro at the beginning. Ron Maru is voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, and he's great as usual. And then Keon Young plays the Warlock chief that Yasuke fights. And then like Michael Sinter Nicholas appears a couple times, like in a few background roles and such, like Nobukatsu, and then the Iga general. And then I mean, let's see, what did you think about Lakeith Stanfield?
Putting aside the controversy that he's found himself under, you can Google that later. I thought his performance was pretty solid. I can't recall if he's done other voice acting roles. But here I thought he did pretty good. He had a very a very subdued presence, and some of his dialogue was, you know, like some pretty powerful stuff. I just wish, again, he was a little bit more of the focus.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I thought he did a pretty good job overall. I think uh like when he has to play the past self is a little better. And but that's just me. But luckily for a lot of this show, the action is great. It's Mappa, it's got a great style, and the cinematography with the action is great. And for most of it, it is Yasuke fighting like with his sword or a weapon of some kind in hand-to-hand combat. He's not like, I'm going to get inside a giant robot and wreck everything, which I liked. I'm glad that they kept the main character just in melee combat or weapon combat.
Yeah, and each of those fights looked amazing and
Yeah,
amazingly violent too.
yeah. I wouldn't say this is as violent as Afro Samurai, but it's pretty violent. I would say it doesn't get super violent until the later half, and this is like 6 episodes, 8 maybe.
It's just 6 episodes, about as much as Afro Samurai.
Yeah. So like, I'm just trying to think like how could I like, is it more violent or just as violent or less violent than Afro Samurai? And
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I think one thing I like about how this show handles it is it's not always like glorifying the violence, if you know what I mean. Like, sure, some of those fights are like genuinely awesome, especially once you see a huge like Ayuja like in action. But it feels like there's more emphasis on like the honor, fighting with honor.
even though he's like technically a Ronin, which Ronin were never like as hardcore honor bound as a typical samurai. So no, I it just seems like they crammed a lot into 6 episodes. And not that I didn't like the final fight, but again, Yasuke's not really the main focus. It's Saki, and Saki's got to learn her powers and such. And I'm I don't know. I understand they wanted to make it a bit of like a lone wolf and cub like setup, but I don't know. I think this needed a little more focus. And what's interesting is that Flying Lotus is has recently teased that, oh, there's going to be more for Yasuke. Like they're planning a big franchise with him, and it's like cool. Kind of felt like you filled a whole franchise worth of story and content into 6 episodes. So I don't know how to feel about this, because I do think the show is good. I just don't know if I'd consider it one of my favorites. And I think I like Cannon Busters a little more from LaShawn Thomas.
I haven't seen Cannon Busters, but after watching Yasuke, I definitely want to go back and check it out.
But yeah, but I will say the one thing I will hands down say is the best thing ever is the opening theme.
Oh, that opening theme is so good.
Such a lo-fi beat. I could see myself downloading that song and putting it on repeat as I work, because tax season. Gotta have something to listen to while I crunch some numbers
Hmm.
or work at my job. But no, overall I enjoyed Yasuke. I wouldn't say it's going to be one of my top 10 favorite anime of the season, but I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. As far as whether or not I want to see this become a franchise, the only response I have to that is if it ends up something like a Mad Max or other stories of that similar ilk. Yeah, sure, I'll be down for more stories like that.
I mean, like Yasuke is a, like by the end of it, he is an interesting character. It's just like it's one of those things where it seems like he's more interesting when the show ends than when it begins. Um, But no, I mean that's all. I'd still give this one a watch. It's only 6 episodes and it's high quality animation. Let's just say this: you'll probably get more of a kick watching this show than Way of the House Husband, which we will probably talk at some point in the future.
Probably.
So, yep, hopefully, maybe, I don't know. I can't tell you.
For now, we move on to a brand new batch of Looney Tunes cartoons.
I mean, I have a lot to say about this new batch, but I have to say overall, I'm still getting a huge kick and enjoyment out of these shorts.
Yeah, I think my general thoughts haven't really changed since the first batch. Just, people who know me know how much like the Looney Tunes mean to me. It like these characters were literally some of like my first ever fandom was, Bugs, Daffy, Porky, the whole gang. But what I specifically love about this batch is Tasmanian Devil got some more exposure, and I think the very first short, Puma Problems, is like the first time we've seen Pete Puma since the 50s.
He showed up in that 2010s Looney Tunes show,
Oh,
and but he was never like a main focus character. He was always like a guest or a side character. But it's literally been a while since we've
yeah.
seen him, and I have to say that might be I have a few favorite cartoons, but yeah, Puma Problems is probably one of my favorites, and I think that's because Pete Puma was always like a character I enjoyed, but he'd always like show up when it's like, okay, we did a thing where Bugs interacts with Daffy, Elmer Fudd, Yosemite Sam, who's another antagonistic force. And I have to say his voice actor, Steven Stanton, really nails how his character sounds.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with like the way he replicated the original voice, which I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, first of all, like Stan Freberg.
Freeberg, that's who it was.
Yeah, because like you would think that like, oh, you're just voicing cartoon characters. How hard can that be? Pete Puma has probably one of the more challenging voices to do because he kind of has a kind of sound, and then he has like a very distinct thing where he does like when he inhales and laughs, he goes like like that, and like that's so hard to do. And Steven Sandin did a fantastic job, and I do love how one of the jokes is like when he jumps into the hole to pretend he's a hole, like he says in the show in the short, I'm a hole, and then Bugs before he walks into his mouth. He's like, "Oh, great! My baby grand piano is here," and they just shove a bunch of things into him. And then right before, oh, what was it? There was a cactus collection, the barbed wire of the month club, and my pet piranha collection comes up. He just bails. He's just like, "Nah, screw this." He just leaves. And
He leaves and walks out with like all the things still inside him.
yeah, it's really funny. And I also like, well, they do a few new things. One, like you said, Taz has 2 shorts that he's the main focus in. They also introduce a new like gag, which is the Beaky Buzzard gag, where Beaky Buzzard thinks he's got something and then of course fails. And I love the first one he shows up in, Beaky Buzzard Mouse, and he grabs a mouse, and then the mouse is like, I wasn't trying to run away from you. I was running away from that. And there's this big mountain lion cat behind him. And he gets eaten, and then after he gets eaten, the giant mountain lion cat hiccups, and then Beaky Buzzard's like, sorry, excuse me. Like, I just love Beaky Buzzard. I love just his comedic like personality. But we also got our first Foghorn Leghorn short out of the bunch, which I wasn't expecting. Like they're slowly introducing the rest of the Looney Tunes casts, and I've always liked Foghorn as well. Like I always liked his canter and his tone of voice. Like he's like, well, I say here that the boy's dumber than a sack of hammers, or something like that. And I like seeing the weasel and the farm dog again.
Mm-hmm.
I like I said, I've always liked some of the other characters more than just like the main crew that they have.
Yeah, a lot of like the more minor characters in the Looney Tunes pantheon have always like they've always had that like that one short that's like, you know, that just like rises above some of like the more popular ones. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the ones with Foghorn and I can't remember the name of the hound, but they always had like great back and forths.
Yeah. And I thought like the experiment of like putting some of these characters in solos shorts worked out very well. I liked seeing Taz in a Devil of a Drink. I thought that one was very funny though. I think my favorite one is the oh what was it? The Nutty Devil with the
Mm.
coconut. And I love the punchline. Like it reminds me of another short, a Looney Tunes short about a squirrel who tries to crack open a coconut. Um, where he tries so many things and then just gives up and he's like, ah, screw this. And he walks over to a vending machine and gets a coconut water. I thought that was such a perfect punchline. But we also get a few other firsts. One, we see the return of the gremlin from the
Yes.
and as he's as great as a foil to Bugs Bunny as you would as he was way back then in a day.
Falling Hair is one of my all-time favorite Bugs Bunny shorts. I used to own this one like public domain VHS tape that had Falling Hair, the Wacky Wabbit, and the Wabbit Who Came to Dinner.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
like those ones I would watch on repeat a lot. So to see the Gremlin make his like triumphant return, only to be just as big, if not bigger, a pain in the ass to Bugs. That made my day.
Oh, I remember when I showed the preview clip, and it's just like I love how Bugs is just laughing his head off, and then as he like leans the magazine down, you see the gremlin just sitting there nonchalantly, and Bugs is like, "What the heck are you doing?" He's like, "Well, it's obvious what I'm doing because I'm a gremlin." And I love that they almost have the same ending as the old one, and then they just actually let the car crash. Like when it's like, huh, you know what they say, limited these electric cars, limited in range. And then the gremlin's like, oh, I'll help with that. And then boom. And we see our first encounter with Bugs dealing with Marvin the Martian.
I'm surprised it's taken this long.
I am too. I was thinking they would bring him in with the second batch because they always like putting them with the flag gags, and I always like those. Yeah, I like the bowling ball one. So because like where he just gets fed up with trying to post a flag, and it's just like these flagpoles aren't cheap, you know. Whoa! He falls into a hole that turned out to be like a giant bowling ball, and we see Petunia Pig get her own short, her first time in like 50 years.
And what's interesting is that it's a solo short, which did not see coming.
No, it was very interesting that they brought her back because that was during a time where it's just like, oh, you got to have a female counterpart to a character, to these male characters. You know, you got to have your Minnie and what have you. And there wasn't much to her, but they were able to give her her own personality with this one. They didn't just make a gender bent Porky Pig. And I thought it was pretty funny. I mean, what did you think?
Um, yeah, I was very surprised, like pleasantly surprised by Petunia's short. I also like how it kind of like subverts your expectations. You thought like you think like she'd get healed after like every, you know, every time she gets hurt, but she stays like kind of like damaged throughout the whole show, like the whole short, and it just keeps getting funnier every like after every mishap.
Well, I will make a quick fix up. She has appeared in other like Looney Tune stuff, but it was just like, but you know, they still didn't do much with her.
Yeah,
So it was
like she was mostly she mostly just resorted to being the girlfriend.
yeah. So I liked seeing her in this one. I love the whole joke of like she almost falls on a rake, and she's like, "Hey, it could have been worse," and then it gets launched back up, shocked, falls back down, lands on the rake. Anyway, and it's a very delightful short, and I also like that they gave Yosemite Sam his own shorts. I liked seeing what they were going to do with him. I wasn't expecting that also for him to be to give him a solo thing, but I will say I think my favorite short is still the Sam Sheepdog Ralph Wolf shorts that they've done so far for these two for this series. I just love the canter, the premise, and how it's a 9 to 5 job of standing around protecting sheep and then stealing sheep.
Yeah, that's always my favorite aspect about the Sam and Ralph shorts is that unlike Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, this is literally their job.
hmm And I love the different outfits, and I love like the one where he puts on like the grass outfit, and not Ralph, Sam puts a golf tee in his head. First of all, ow. And then he just keeps failing to hit him, and then it gets enough to Ralph Wolf. He's like, "Hold on, you idiot!" And he's like, "Swing with your back arm," or whatever the term is, and then he gets whacked. And then you find out that the ball still didn't get hit. And like I said, I like the shorts that have like the lesser known characters. I'm not going to say I'm getting kind of tired of the major focus being on like Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, and Bugs Bunny, but I'm starting to like I want to see a little more
A little more
variety.
variety.
And it's not like they're not funny. All of these are still pretty funny. I still love I forgot which one it is. The one where Elmer Fudd is about to pay off a parking ticket, and then Daffy Duck comes in as his lawyer, and it's like, oh, Mallard practice.
Yep.
And I thought that one was a delight, was very funny, where he tries to say like he was walking over here at this time where he got this supposed ticket, and here he is robbing a bank, and it's like you stupid duck, what are you doing?
Yeah, the punchline of that is one of the funniest things. Of it on the one hand, it's a little bit predictable because we know that Elmer's a bad guy, so he's one way or another he's getting his comeuppance. But I think it's just the build up to the payoff that just gives it that extra layer.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I still like these shorts. I just think there needs to be a little more variety uh going forward. And like I said, I like I liked finally seeing Marvin the Martian come back into light. And I don't know if they're ever going to do like a Duck Dodgers parody episode, because I feel like they're not going to, since I feel like the Duck Dodgers era of Daffy Duck is Chuck Jones, basically.
Yeah,
And,
and
and
this seems more like Frizz Feeling, Bob Clampett.
yeah, so, but I just want to see a little more, like, I don't know, maybe have Bugs and Daffy interact, or Bugs and Porky or something, and such, because like I will say I think my least favorites were the Wile E. Coyote ones, even though they were still all really funny. Like I love the one where I forgot what it's called. Oh dang it.
Is
Where
is
like
is it the one where like he tries to to freeze time to catch the
yes,
Roadrunner?
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
And
that's my favorite of the two.
yeah, and they also introduced another kind of like in between gag with Daffy's psychic. Um, I don't remember that one as well. I think it's very fun. I love the punchline. It's like you're gonna explode into fame, and then it turns out that the crystal ball was a bomb painted. Like I think it was cute, but I don't. The fact that I had to kind of think about it on the spot about what the punchline was kind of says something.
Some of these I do kind of have to go back and rewatch. Though like the ones that really stand out are the ones that try to do something a little bit different, whether it's bring back characters we haven't seen in a while, or just mixing up the formula.
Yeah. But still, I love watching these shorts. I'm still gonna watch every other new batch that they put out.
I think when this was first announced, they said they had like 1,000 minutes ready to go. So I think that means we still have like at least 70 more shorts that have been completed.
We'll see. I mean, I can't wait. Like I'm fine with whatever. Like I said, I want to see a little more variety among the characters, but definitely like do bring on more characters, do more variations of who's working off of who.
All right. Yeah. Overall, my thoughts are go watch these Looney Tunes cartoons because they're great.
Yeah.
Moving on now to the. Can you believe this? It's the 41st film that DC has done direct to video. This is Justice Society World War II, directed by Jeff Wamister and written by Megan Fitzmartin and Jeremy Adams. Um, this is an original story involving the Justice Society of America, a group of heroes aiding the Allies in World War II, who make an ally from the future who sends them on a history-changing adventure. But by the way, there will be spoilers for this. So like the trailers seem to imply that Barry Allen, the Flash, travels back in time to World War II to join the Justice Society, but there's a reveal that happens, I guess, like halfway through, that kind of it basically reveals that this Barry didn't travel to the past; he traveled to another Earth.
Yeah, he travels to a World War II centric Earth and meets the Justice Society, which is founded with Wonder Woman, voiced by Stana Katic, Steve Trevor, voiced by Mickey Mouse himself, Chris Diamantopoulos, uh, Jay Garrick Flash, voiced by Armin Taylor, Our Man, voiced by Matthew Mercer, Black Canary, or the Dina Lance version of Black Canary, voiced by Alicia Rotaru, Carter Hall Hawkman, voiced by Omid Abtahi, and I've been meaning to bring this up because I remember when we talked about this in one of our more popular episodes where we run down what movies are coming out this year. The reference point, I didn't mean to ask if the Justice Society was like the Justice Lords. I meant that Justice League two-parter where the Flash and Green Lantern get kind of warped to a different dimension and they meet like a pseudo copyright free version of the Justice Society.
You were talking about the Justice Guild.
Yeah, the Justice Guild, which has pretty much every other character, like the same batch of characters almost, but but for some reason they couldn't have the rights to these versions of the characters. Which is interesting because I've seen that version of the Green Lantern before. Like that's like an older version of the Green Lantern, or a different take on the Green Lantern, and like of course the old fashioned Flash. For some reason in that version, it's wearing a football helmet. But yeah, the Justice Guild was what I was thinking of, like that the Justice Society was like a play on and such, or vice versa.
Right.
So overall, before we get into it, I liked this movie, but I can't help to think that they inadvertently advertised a different movie to us.
Yeah, even the synopsis I read was like, wait a minute, something's not right.
Because then when you get into it, it's like, oh, so instead of just a Justice Society film, it's a Elseworld Flash story where the Flash, the whole thing gets ignited when the Flash helps Superman. And this is apparently the same Superman from what was it, Man of Tomorrow?
Yep.
Because it's Darren Criss voicing him. And I just think that's interesting that it's like, okay, so are they going for a connected universe again? Even though I feel like they never said that was the plan. It's just interesting because I'm kind of wondering if like my enjoyment of this film was kind of hampered by the fact that it was not the film that we were told it was, or if it's just like I didn't read between the lines in what this was actually going to be.
In hindsight, I think it makes more sense that it was a sort of Elseworlds film. I mean, I think what DC is doing is they are building a new cinematic universe. They're just kind of being low key about it. kind of like what the comics do. Like we understand that everything takes place in the same world, but it's not like every book has to make like explicit references every time. But what I'm getting at is I should have known what the quote unquote twist was in this movie, because there's a famous Silver Age comic called Flash of Two Worlds, where Barry Allen and Jay Garrick meet each other for the first time and team up. So they're kind of referencing that comic, plus the classic Justice Society of America comics from the 50s.
Yeah, and I mean, I love seeing these older DC superheroes. Like, when are you ever going to see Our Man that's not in a Justice Society setting? Because I mean, let's kind of face it, Our Man is kind of a weak superhero. I don't know. I always kind of laugh at the fact that his powers only work for 1 hour, and it's like, why do they have to be an hour? Is this like Ultraman logic where Ultraman can't stay giant for no longer than 5 minutes?
I mean,
I mean,
yeah, it is a pretty silly gimmick, but they've surprisingly made it work twice now, between this and a younger version on the CW show Stargirl, which is kind of like a more modern update of the Justice Society. Between this movie, Stargirl, and the upcoming Black Adam, if you're a fan of like the Justice Society of America, then you should be pretty happy that this team is getting a lot more exposure.
yeah, no, I mean, like, in general, but outside of my gripes and criticisms, I did like this team. I thought, well, I always liked Jay Garrick and Barry Allen as characters, and I love the whole like Jay has to stop Barry from saying certain things before before he causes a time paradox. So it's just like this one movie, time paradox, right? And I thought the character dynamics were pretty interesting. I think Black Canary and Wonder Woman don't get the best arcs, but I did like Black Canary and Hawkman's dynamic. I liked Our Man with Jay Garrick. We'll talk about Steve Trevor in a little bit, but I also liked the twist of seeing Dr. Fate, who's voiced by Keith Ferguson.
Great casting, by the way.
Yeah, and I've always
I almost thought for a second that was Tom Kenny, but I Keith Ferguson and Tom Kenny have like sort of similar cadences in their voice.
yeah, I could see that. Though, like, if you follow Young Justice, the show, Dr. Fate's voiced by, or at least the helmet is voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson. And I mean, I was kind of amused when it started to become like the more pulpy Elseworld story. Like, instead of fighting like the Nazis, they fight a mind controlled Aquaman. And I mean, I like that twist. They definitely hid that from the marketing, which was nice. Well, it kept me interested, and I did like. What did you think about the twist of who? How should we say? Shakespeare.
It was a twist that I didn't see coming at first, but when you think about it, makes a lot more sense. I mean, it doesn't help that it's still the same voice as Superman, but and also Shakespeare being a writer, and it seems like on that Earth he's a reporter, so it's like you like it's just enough of a twist to result in like a satisfying enough payoff, but it's more like in hindsight that's when you start to feel a little silly for not catching it right away.
Right. I really like the art style. I love that this new art direction that they're going with.
It looks a little bit more like how these characters are depicted in on the actual page.
Yeah, and I like that they use like the retro designs. Like, I liked Wonder Woman's design and Black Canary, and I know it's like a different Black Canary, but I mean, I like seeing variations. Like, variety is the spice of life. And I will say some of my criticisms start popping up with like, well, it's another DC direct-to-video animated film. The animation's going to look janky at times.
Yeah, the jank is back.
Like, I get it. They make these and release them like per new quarter of the year, and I feel like I would rather them slow down if it meant that it could put more time and resources or, money into making them the best possible version that they can be. Because again, they have this problem from time to time where they overload the story with like a lot of plot, like interesting setups, and then very little payoff or no payoff, depending on what movie you're watching. But that's just me.
No, I get that. Like lately, I've been really kind of bothered by films that either don't or can't reach their full potential. For better or for worse. And that could just be me being spoiled by getting Justice League, the Snyder cut, which was 4 hours and 2 minutes of everything that he wanted. So comparing that to this movie being only 84 minutes and having to cram in all of that stuff, it can result in certain subplots being a little undercooked.
And I know, listen, I get it. I know Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor are a thing in the comics and in the movies and such. Can we go one Wonder Woman movie without Steve Trevor ever being brought up or in the plot at all?
At
Like,
the
I don't know.
at the very least, could they at least not made their romance as creepy as it was in this film?
Like at first, it's like, oh, that's kind of cute. He's giving her flowers right now. What do you mean this isn't the first time he's tried this? Oh, that's creepy. And I wish they didn't kill off Hawkman, but I guess it's like the two. This is the one plot thread I didn't care for. They killed off the two love interests for Black Canary and Wonder Woman, and I don't know.
That just seems really unfair.
That's so unfair. I was kind of waiting, and maybe that's kind of my fault for thinking Our Man was going to get killed at one point, but he gets to survive.
Also, I'll be honest. While I like the dynamic between Black Canary and Hawkman, I didn't really buy into their romance. I think the way the film ships them seemed a bit too obvious because, like, get it? They're both superheroes with a bird themed alter ego.
Yeah, and I didn't care for the advisor who was voiced by Jeffrey Arendt. Not that like he was like performed badly or anything like that. He's just, oh, I'm evil and such. I don't know.
No, I get it. But by the way, his character, the advisor, is actually based on a more interesting villain called Psycho Pirate.
That's who that is?
Yeah,
Oh, come on. I love Psycho Pirate.
yeah, I know.
Oh.
I'm disappointed in that too when I learned that.
Like you give all these retro outfits and then you put him in this boring Atlantean suit and not the awesome Psycho Pirate costume. Man, this is why Batman Brave and the Bold is great. They let them stay in the outfits. We'll have to talk about that show sometime. And I mean, but even then, I still loved like how it ended with Barry Allen getting back and basically tossing the kryptonite bullet and headshotting Brainiac. I was like,
That was pretty badass. The way that fight went down. Also, I love how Brainiac is nothing more than the noodle incident in the film.
I know he's just kind of like, I'm here. I'm gonna rule the world. I'm gonna ignite the plot, and that's all. And then get shot in the head. And no, I mean, like despite my complaints, I still really enjoyed watching this one. I just think, I don't know, there just could have been more to it, but maybe that's just me, and maybe I need to stop expecting so many things or just something different from these DC direct-to-video films. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you?
No, I get that. I've been trying to manage my expectations, and well, I won't go as crazy as giving this a 5 out of 5 if I grade it on a curve, because even then I still have issues with certain subplots. I can comfortably say that I enjoyed this movie.
Same. No, I've enjoyed their push for these films more after the Apocalypse War one. Like I think Batman,
The
Man
Long
of
Halloween.
Tomorrow. Well, That one looks great. I just watched the trailer on mute and while you were talking, and it looks like they're kind of going the same way here with a younger Batman. That makes sense since isn't the Long Halloween like the sequel story to Year One or something like that?
Yeah, it's like it's pretty much his year two.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited to see that, and I also in some ways I'm a little bummed that this isn't going to take place during the cool '70s year Soul of the Dragon Batman,
Uh,
but
but I hope we get a sequel to that one because that movie is just awesome.
don't sequel bait us if you're not going to make a sequel, DC. But yeah, no. Overall, I still very much enjoyed uh Justice Society World War II. I still kind of think we were sold a different movie at first, but I'll get over that. I'll be fine. I don't consider it a major criticism. It's just, so it's not really a Justice Society film, but that does make me wonder. I wonder how they are going to introduce Wonder Woman into this new universe. So I can't
Ooh,
wait to see.
that's a good question actually. I would love to see like whatever they come up with for Wonder Woman's solo film if she gets one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope she does. I don't want the mixed response to Wonder Woman 84 to like tell DC and Warner Brothers like, and maybe nobody wants Wonder Woman
No,
anymore.
don't worry about that. Wonder Woman 3 is already on the way, but
Yeah, but
as far as the animated world goes, I would love to see what they come up with.
I mean, you know how these companies are. They Twitch react to like when something doesn't get like it's not bazillion dollars day one, and the reviews aren't 100% positive. They're 99% positive. But I mean, that's a whole other issue I can go into at another time. But yeah, no, I'd recommend it. I think Soul of the Dragon's still the better film of the two that we've had so far, but they're going in a good direction.
Oh yeah. So our final film is actually the first entry in what we like to call the Ghibli Journey. And just as a reminder to the audience, these movies are chosen completely at random. We decide by the wheel. And this movie is My Neighbors the Yamadas, a sort of anthology film written and directed by Isao Takahata, and yes, the same director who would later go on to do the Tales of Princess
Kaguya.
Kaguya. Thank you.
And he's also the same director who did Only Yesterday, Grave of the Fireflies, and Pom
Pompoko.
Poko. Yeah. He's like the second director that Studio Ghibli focused on. And I have some thoughts about this after rewatching this film. Because there's always been kind of like this interesting history of how Isao Takahata approached making an animated feature compared to Miyazaki, which at first it's like, yeah, well, I can see why Miyazaki became popular, but there's a long-term thing I was thinking about how Takahata approached his films. So it's like, but let's talk a bit about this. So this is their like, let's see, how do we approach this? It's a series of vignettes following the Yamada family, where you have Takashi and Matsuko, the father and mother, Shige, Matsuko's mother, Noboru, the son, and Nonoko, the 5-year-old daughter, and their dog Pochi, who doesn't do a whole lot in the movie, but still. It's definitely a distinct story because it doesn't really have a flowing narrative. It's all just like little sections of like their plot, like they're going about their lives.
And honestly, that's honestly what I really loved about this movie. Probably my one complaint is I just want more. I would have loved if this was like more of a long running series, kind of like Japan's answer to like the Peanuts specials.
Oh, I could totally see them doing this if they ever thought about going in that direction. Because I mean, it sets itself up for one. Because like I said, there's no real overall narrative. They're not like the Mitchells. Let's just say that. They don't need to save the day or anything. It's literally them going about their life in very slice of life story beats, and it's like, oh, the mom tricks the grandmother to try to make sushi, and then instead the grandma's going to make beef stroganoff, and then gets bored by it, and it's like,
my,
I didn't make it. Go order that sushi.
my favorite thing is like how she can't even pronounce stroganoff. She's like stroganoff.
Stroganoff. And it's just like I like the punchline to these story beats where it's like you're not thinking and then they set it up and then they pay it off. And I just love and I love like when they think Nonoko is like lost at the mall, and then like once they said like a woman took her away, which you find out is a family friend. um they're like, we're gonna go get Nonoko, and the son's like, oh well, do you know who we need to go after? And they're like,
No, we have no idea.
they're like, oh no. And I think what the approach to this film, like what makes it interesting, is it's grounded, but it's all told in this very cool ink, like watercolor art style, which I think was a very new thing for Studio Ghibli, because they were very much like, oh, like it's got to be hand drawn, hand colored, use as little CGI as possible.
Yeah,
And
like
they
this. I took a little look at the original manga that this is based on. And pretty much what they did is like they basically copied that art style, but obviously Takahata made it his own.
Yeah, and this is, I think, their first. Yeah, apparently this was their first completely digital Studio Ghibli film, and that was the. This is what I was kind of referencing. Takahata was more about experimenting with the stories they told, and like, of course, he had Grave of the Fireflies, which is going to be a real emotional train wreck for us, because that's what it is for everyone who watches that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then but then he was like, how about we do something like Miyazaki was like, let's do some grounded fantasy. Takahata was just like, how about we just do grounded realism with maybe a tinge of fantasy, but it's never the focus. Like, Only Yesterday is about a woman in her 30s kind of going to the countryside and remembering her past. No like magic, no like, oh, I'm going to be in this magical world or something. It's just, I'm going to go through and see if my life was worth it, or like what I've done from then to now and such.
Like
And here,
I think the most the most abstract this movie gets is there's like this one shot of um like a younger Takashi and Matsuko, back when they were getting married, and it shows them kind of like driving along their wedding cake.
I love that opening sequence. Well, it's not the opening sequence, but it's like the sequence that um basically like ignites the film.
Yeah, like I think that's about as abstract as the film gets. And it's a fantastic sequence, but I just love the minimalist approach to this. And yet, despite the limited appearance, the limited designs, it's still very, very well animated, like in like the action and uh like the chase sequences, and even just like the comedic timing.
Yeah, no, it's a very funny movie. I love like some of the vignettes, like when the mom thinks she left all the laundry in the rain, like when it starts raining outside, and she's like, "Oh, I took it in earlier," and then the grandma's like, "You didn't even take it out at all."
Or one of my favorites, the like, don't eat too much ginger or you'll forget, and then like the rest of the short is just everybody forgets, you know like
Everything.
Takashi forgets his briefcase, or Nobru forgot to take off his pajamas.
Right, right. And I love the one at the very end where they're all fighting, and then like the grandmother and the father are fighting, and then they insult the mom, and then the son's like, I can see why we get along so well because the adults are criminally insane. And then they all get in a fight, and then the daughter's crying, and then the mom's like, "You see, Nonoko doesn't like it when we fight." It's just like, I can't hear the TV. That's why. That's why she's crying. Or like when at the very beginning, when the grandmother is walking the dog, and she's just like, "What kind of species are these?" Thinking like because she's talking to a neighbor, and that they think like the neighbor thinks she's asking about the flowers, and she's like, "Well, no, what about this one?" And then there's a little caterpillar on it, and he's like, "I don't know, it's a bug." It's like, "Huh? Well, don't worry, little caterpillar. You'll grow into something beautiful, and then you'll fly away from these gaudy looking flowers." And it helps that they got a pretty grounded cast of actors for this role. I mean, for the English cast, you have James Belushi as Takashi, you have Molly Shannon as Matsuko, Daryl Sabara, who you would know him from the Spy Kids films,
Yep.
as Noboru, Liliana Mumi as Nonoko, and then Tress McNeil as Shige, the grandmother. And then you got the narrator, who is played by the late David Ogden Steers.
Who a lot of you will know as either Cogsworth from Beauty and the Beast or General Radcliffe from Pocahontas.
That, or he's also the one of the two lead aliens in Lilo and Stitch.
Yep.
And then of course if you're paying attention, you can hear other characters. Like there's a young Jeremy Shada, and then there's Billy West, who appears for a line or two. Jeff Bennett appears. Corey Burton does as well, and like I said, they all do well. And I like Melissa Disney when she plays the girl with the umbrella, when she was just like, "Here, Noboru, you can take my umbrella," because then she tried to go to a boy that she liked, and then the guy's just like, "It's like, what happened to your umbrella?" "Oh, I lost it." "Well, that sucks to be you. Don't get a cold." And then she tries to get the umbrella back from Noboru, and the Noboru's just like, "No, I'm borrowing it now." And I can understand why some people didn't take to this film at first, because it does meander. It's just a bunch of skits.
I think what helped me and why I enjoyed it so much is because I knew going in that it was going to be different. It was not going to necessarily be linear, but because it's just because this is like exactly my sense of humor, it just clicked for me right away.
Yeah, no, it's like you got to go into this knowing that it's kind of a low key story, and apparently, having a low key story means that you're second tier Ghibli, and it's like
that's really unfair. I mean, I get it. Like this is the same studio that did like
Princess Mononoke,
yeah,
Spirited Away, The Wind Rises, like these big grand films, but they also do, like, I don't know. It's the same thing that happens like when Pixar does like some kind of like lower key, lower stake story, and it's just like, why is it second tier? Because it's not an epic story. Don't you want this kind of thing in animation? Like, I don't know. It's just a case of me being again saying like animation fans don't know what they want.
Yeah, they only know what they don't want.
Yeah. And that's what I like about Ghibli. They're able to do big grand epics, and then they're also able to do these smaller films and stories. So I don't see the problem with that. But like I said, I understand if some people find like, well, there's not much of a story. There is, though. There is technically a story. You just have to focus on the beginning and the end, because then it all connects. Like all these disconnected vignettes will all connect, like from between the beginning and the end. Because at the beginning, during the wedding ceremony, when Takashi and Matsuko are getting married, a woman is talking about just saying like, "Hey, a marriage is a challenge, and y'all will need to do as much as you can to make sure that everything goes smoothly and such." And like a bunch of very, marriage philosophy kind of stuff. And then what really hooked me into the film again, like because I was getting to a point where it's like, I don't know if I like this one again. Like I reviewed it a while back, and I said I really liked it. Then I watched it. Then I kind of haven't watched it since until for this podcast. And then the ending happens, and Takashi says this speech, and I think it's just a great moral.
Oh, it's
Uh,
it's the speech that leads into a great musical number that's taken right from what's the film? The Man Who Knew Too Much. The
yeah,
song is called Que Sera
case,
Sera.
yeah, whatever will be, will be. And his like the speech, it's just him saying like, "Hey, just take life as it comes. Don't worry about the future. Don't like just take it as it is, and like don't worry about it too much. And just no matter what happens, a strong family bond will get you through any challenge." And I just think that's such a strong message. And it's like you kind of get like, oh, I get why Takahata wanted to do this kind of film. And that was kind of the reason why I'm starting to really like Takahata. Not to say he didn't have his own terrible working ethics that like Miyazaki had. Like if you watch like the Only Yesterday making of, he was like very strict about like how he wanted things to go. So it's like, but he was also the one director between the two who wanted to experiment. And I feel like and unfortunately like that kind of led to Miyazaki having the more popular films. So, but
I do like though that we've talked about this before, how it kind of sucks how Studio Ghibli isn't as future insured as most other animation studios. Like if Takahata and Miyazaki were to both retire, they haven't been training new talent to succeed them.
yeah, and it sucks because then Takahata passed away, and then that kind of left everything to Miyazaki, and Miyazaki was just like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. But then he also, of course, retires, unretires, retires again, and then unretires again, again because he wants to keep creating, and he's only got one more movie now, and then that's it. And unless Goro finally gets help to make movies or they get some freaking outside talent. There are so many anime directors, Ghibli, to pull from. Pull some of them and make stuff for you. Like you can still make movies. You don't need just Miyazaki. Anyway, sorry. But like I said, that's what I always liked about Takahata. He was always willing to experiment, and I wish Ghibli went into that direction of his experimentation instead of being like so tied to Miyazaki being like we're doing everything traditional and that's it. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah, I it's just a shame that Takahata is no longer with us, because this being my first Takahata film, it left a really strong first impression. I will always champion films that you know that bend the rules, play around with expectations, or just like deliver deliver the sort of vibe that this movie has. This movie is just a vibe.
Yeah. Now, and and a lot of Japanese directors and studios do this with stuff. Like, well, we'll have to see if we can make like a G Kids wheel because you need to see films like Okozen and such. It has kind of the same vibe and what have you. So it's just a shame that people didn't respond well to My Neighbors the Yamadas because I feel like if that one did better, apparently it didn't perform as well. It underperformed at the box office.
That's a shame.
Yeah. We Ghibli would be in a better state than they are because I get it. Everyone's so hellbent on Ghibli being like they should only do 2D. It has to be on pen and paper, and that's it. And it's like, but they've done more than pen and paper already. I know their CGI stuff with like Earwig and the Witch didn't work, but I blame the story more than the CGI not working. Though the CGI is part of the problem, but not the only problem.
Right.
But yeah, no, I really like My Neighbors the Yamadas. I think it's a real gem of a movie. And I think it could easily become one of my favorites if you just catch me on at a certain time of day. So yeah, I highly recommend it. You can either buy it on Blu-ray from G Kids or you can catch it on HBO Max.
Yep. Now, before we move on to my other recommendations, Cameron, why don't you go ahead and spin that wheel?
Ghibli wheel, turn, turn, turn. What movie shall we watch next? Oh yeah, you're gonna watch your first Miyazaki film.
Ooh, what do
Well,
you got?
you're gonna watch his third film. You're gonna like this was like partially when like Ghibli was starting to form or kind of not fully there yet. We're gonna watch Castle in the Sky.
Awesome.
And oh, this is one of my favorites. It like if you had to like tell me like three favorite Ghibli films, Castle in the Sky, Spirited Away, Porco Rosso. So
I'm very lucky that that we landed this one because it's been on my list for a while, and I've been very curious to check it out. So I'm glad now is the opportunity.
yeah, let's see here. We could have fallen on Grave of the Fireflies.
No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that yet. I love you, Takahata, but I'm not ready for that yet.
You're not ready for the emotional train wreck of it all. But yeah, I think this will be a fun one to watch. We're not going to do it for this like for the next two episodes. So
Yeah, we're gonna push this one off until after our
the big
two-parter
spring anime breakdown. Yeah.
But before we go, for my recommendations, I've got a couple. One, since we are recording this on Mother's Day, I have no choice but to recommend The Secret of Nim, which I've talked about before a million times. But Mrs. Brisby is one of, if not the greatest strong female protagonist, because what she lacks in like, you know, physical strength, she makes up for like in her heart, in her, you know, in her bravery, going going through this like grand adventure just to save her son who's fallen ill, and yet like even though she's scared, even though like she has no idea what lies ahead of her, she still takes that leap of faith. And it's one of my favorite Don Bluth films. I think it's quite literally his best, his masterpiece. I don't know if this is streaming anywhere, but you can probably rent it for like $3 on YouTube. But yeah, definitely check this one out. And my other recommendation is the YouTube channel Dave Lee Down Under. You know, he does his monthly series Cartoon Evolution, and his next installment is for Tasmanian Devil. So earlier this afternoon, I was watching some of the old, like the classic Tasmania shorts that are all on HBO Max. So you know, if you want to prepare for Dave Lee's next video, definitely check out those classic shorts, because you know Tasmanian Devil is he didn't appear in a lot of the Looney Tunes shorts, but the ones he did appear in are pretty hilarious. They have some of the best some of the best physical gags between Bugs and any of his foils.
I think my favorite one was when Daffy Duck had to deal with him, and I forgot how exactly that one went, but I remember the ending just showing how pathetic Daffy is,
Oh, yep.
and like he was willing to go back into the cage where the Tasmanian Devil was after putting him in there because a dollar slipped under it. And then he's like, I might be a coward, but I'm a greedy coward. Yeah, no, that's a good channel, and that'll be a fun video to watch. So since it is Mother's Day as we are recording this, I'm going to give the obvious, and people should watch Wolf Children by Mamoru Hosoda. The story
Good
of
choice.
the story of a single mom taking care of these two kids who turn out to be part wolf because she married a werewolf like character. Don't ask. And it's just a great movie. The mom's a fantastic lead character. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it was my favorite film of 2013. And that's saying something because it beat out Miyazaki for me. So like take that as you will. And this was already a year where we had like Ernest and Celestine, A Letter to Momo, and so on. And for the one last tease that you will have to put up with before we get to the anime season episodes, I'm going to talk about one that I was completely surprised by because the genre of anime from this season, from This Is From, has sucked, and we'll talk about that when we in the first episode. But I want to recommend Bakuden Backflip, and it's a rhythmic gymnastics anime. And if you were disappointed by, or maybe disappointed by, Skate Leading Stars or the other major sports anime of this season, Backflip is the one that really nails it. It's beautifully animated. The characters are so expressive. The combination of 2D when they're for everything else and then CGI is handled perfectly. And it's just a great and fun story. I love the characters. I like the comedy. I have to say the character with the green hair is my favorite because of how expressive he is.
Oh yeah, I remember him being like he was a lot of fun, that character.
Yeah, so I can it's like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this amazing sports anime this season doing under a mile of garbage? And I feel like nobody's really talking about it, or maybe it's just I haven't caught up to it yet because I'm still catching up on watching all this stuff for the first episode this week. But life comes first and taxes.
Yeah.
So those are my two recommendations.
Yeah, we got some good stuff lined up for the next couple weeks. I am very much looking forward to talking about genres other than the sports because that was a nightmare. But more on that later. For now, Cameron, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Cam's Eye View. I run my own website called camseyeview.biz where I talk about animated films in the section called The Other Side of Animation. I have my own Patreon at patreon.com/camseyeview. You can find me there. And that's where you can find me. I'm also in the Renegade Pop Culture Facebook group. I'll post there from time to time.
Awesome. And you guys can find me on Twitter at Captain K482. Check out all my quick thoughts on letterbox.com/Coach K482. You can find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can follow Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we. That'll do it for this installment of Renegade Animation. We will catch you guys later. Peace out.
Bye.